Welcome to Roll the Dice, the GM's Guide to Better Role-Playing. This is episode 4, and I'm Dan.
And I am Lee.
And today we're talking about creating a good player character.
How do we do that? Why are we doing that? I thought this series was for GMs, player characters.
Yeah,
what?
That's all me. That's not the GM at all.
That's you, man. This, I think, is a good tool. That's why I wanted to add this into an episode, is if a GM can help out players that have never made a character before, or maybe they want to make a more interesting character, giving you the tools to help them do that.
Yeah, and I think it's important for the GM to know what kind of character you're playing. So
Definitely.
They should have input as well, and to tell you what kind of character you can play, and then they can figure out and talk to you about how they integrate into the game.
Yep.
So the first thing I have to ask is kind of like we asked in the last episode was, do you have a favorite player character, a character that you had and played?
Yeah, I do. I've only made a handful of characters in my career, when you asked me this question earlier on, I know we're cheating. I got to, Dan sent me the question earlier on so I could think about it. I've only had, Dan, 5 characters maybe.
Really? That's all you've ever had?
I'm thinking back to D&D.
Like.
I'm thinking back to D&D. All my characters were basically exactly the same. I used to play just basically martial artists. That was always, and they were interchangeable. They had katanas or they fought with their feet. And then that changed when Deadlands came around, or as I was getting older and maturing. But I think I only have 5 characters total.
Well, starting off, a lot of my characters have same traits. I mean, it's.
You find that out, yeah.
Yeah, you find out there's characters you like to play, and they tend to have traits that you like to add.
So who's your favorite character, though?
I don't. It's kind of interesting because I have one that I like, and it's very obvious the flaw that I picked for him.
Okay.
Because sometimes you pick a flaw for your player character that could be the exact opposite of what you wanted your trait to be. And it doesn't always work out, but I had a tale teller in Deadlands.
All right.
And a tale teller is someone who uses their wits, uses their stories to
calm people, help them out.
Yeah, calm people, bring the fear levels down in the area.
Bring joy to humans, which will hurt the bad guys, the villains.
He was mute, so he couldn't talk.
Oh, I don't know. What was the name of this character?
I don't remember the name. I forgot the name of the character.
But you like his traits, though. Okay.
I like the traits, and I like the challenge that it was. And it's it's like not all GMs would be like, hey,
no, go for it.
Yeah, you can play a tale teller that's mute. That's very contradictory to the skills that you have.
That's awesome.
Luckily, the GM that was running the game trusted me to play it correctly, or thought I would at least.
Was that Jim?
What's that?
Was Jim the marshal? I hate that guy. Oh,
yeah, he was the marshal of that one, I believe.
Jim. I'm joking.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of characters had slight, they might have something a little funny about them, or So actually, even though it was a good trait to have, as far as it still worked in the campaign we had. It still added some comic relief in a way that trying to tell someone, like I had specific knowledge of who a bad guy was or what was going on. And I'm trying to convince all the players to not do what they're going to do because it's going to cause a problem, but trying to do it without telling them because I couldn't.
Sure. Yeah. And that's what's fun about making a character that has all these flaws, but they also have some strengths like you were describing. But I do have a character that I actually got to play and played quite a bit, and his name is Dash.
I remember Dash.
Okay. So he's a Deadlands character in the Weird West. He's a hex slinger, gun spinner. He can use magic. And I say gun spinner and not gunslinger because he actually didn't know how to shoot very well at all. He was very quick on the draw, but his shooting was not very good. He would use magic to cheat. Now, those are his skills, but what kind of a person was he? And that's what I want to talk about too, is what's really important when making a character is what kind of a person they are, what kind of positive and negative characteristics do they have, and also what kind of character you want to play. Like I said earlier, I used to play martial art tough guy characters that would just go in, kick ass, and that's it. And now I've completely changed to they're not physically strong, they're more intelligent, witty, charismatic, and they figure out the problems by talking or being clever more than anything else.
And I think for players, sometimes it's fun to, if you know you're trapped in that all the characters I play are this kind of character, it's sometimes fun to change it up and play something else.
Yeah.
Like I used to play in Deadlands, I would play characters who could shoot well. They're always heroic. They're always curious. All these things.
Mm-hmm.
But then at one time, and this was Jim running the game too, and
Jim again.
I know again.
Oh, I gotta prove that I'm the better GM.
I don't remember any games I played with you, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
But the character I played was a piano player, so he couldn't shoot. All he could do is play piano, and he could talk. He was good. Charisma was high, so it was opposite of what I was used to playing. Unfortunately, because he couldn't shoot, he died in like the second episode.
Did he die from a zombie dinosaur?
It wasn't even zombies; it was wolves.
Oh, wolves got him.
He was supposed to stay up and keep watch, and a wolf got to jump on him. And in the one round that they had to jump on him, the 5 wolves tore him apart before anyone could wake up.
Because that's realistic.
Because so everyone was going to wake up the next round.
Yep, but too late.
But I had rolled so poorly, and Jim had rolled so well.
Frickin' Jim.
That I was dead in a round. And Jim always felt bad about that kill. That he's like, I killed you with wolves. And I'm like, it's okay.
It's fine. It just showed that the West is dangerous without monsters. These were just wolves.
I had a great time playing the character, even in the couple sessions, the 1 or 2 sessions that I played him. But even the death was memorable for me.
It's fun, and it's funny too.
It's just the way it turned out.
Yeah. Yep. I like that.
Sometimes change it up. Play that character that can't shoot, or play that fighter that can't fight.
Yeah.
Take different chances with your players and see what other traits you might like to play.
Yeah, you're gonna have to try a bunch of different types of characters and different types of character classes, what different abilities that they have. Figure out what you will eventually like playing. Maybe like playing a tank-like character. All right, but now all right, I'm gonna see if I can do a wizard just to see how that goes. And then sometimes you're like, forget it. I know who I am. I'm gonna play this character again. Recently, I do have a new character. I am playing in a D&D campaign, and he is an opposite. He's not charismatic. He's not talkative, and he's got a lot of flaws. He has more flaws than he does positives characteristics. So I think that could be fun too. Is instead of, like you said earlier, you always play the heroic, awesome, loyal character. Well, try to play I'm not talking about anti-hero necessarily, although I guess he would be now I'm thinking about it.
That's what the bloodbath was when BB and Hell on Earth, the guy who didn't care and just killed everyone.
But he had his own goals of what he wanted to do, and it could be seen as heroic or anti-heroic. You're not the typical heroic characteristics of the knight in shining armor. But another important thing to do if you do make an anti-hero is don't make Wolverine.
Yes.
I see everyone they think of the anti-hero as Wolverine or Gambit, as painted with broad stripes, painted with broad strokes.
It also, that's what you need to talk to your GM about, is what kind of characters you can play. And playing an anti-hero it can be very difficult, especially if everyone else is playing straight up heroes.
Yep. Yeah, and then you could have character conflict. Like in the last episode, we talked about our 2 characters when we were playing Deadlands, where we argued. We had character conflict in the group of, I think we should kill this person. I don't think we should. And if you have, that's great.
Yeah, but that was brought about by the situation. It wasn't brought about by my hero was an anti-hero and your hero was a hero.
That's true. That's true.
We played together for, I don't know, if like years.
It was a long time.
I don't know how long we played that campaign for. So it finally brought our characters against each other.
Yeah.
Due to the GM, role playing it out.
But you're talking about right away, which is also a good idea too. Is you have a character that's from the Union, the North, and then you have a character from the South, and maybe they fought in the same battle. Maybe they didn't fight each other, but they were both there. But now you have to bring them together to fight a greater evil, or they overcome their differences. Yeah, which is cool throughout the campaign.
So I think bringing when you start creating your player character, the GM should be there, and you should ask them, "Can I play? What's allowed? What am I allowed to play?" Mm-hmm. And what are other people playing? And sometimes they don't want to tell you what everyone else is playing, and that's fine.
That's true. Yeah, it all depends.
You need to ask them what you're allowed to play, and you pick your character, your class, You start talking about personalities. This guy's
Mhm.
heroic, and that comes into the abilities and flaws. Usually, that every book has some kind of traits, flaws, abilities
Yeah.
that you can choose from.
Hmm. I like to give my characters, when I make them, a lot of flaws because that helps me make them more like people, or it gives them goals to overcome, which is also important. Maybe they're absent-minded or something, and they understand that they are, and they want to get better at that. Lots of different flaws you can give them.
And I also want to mention that flaws doesn't necessarily mean that you have to pick those flaws in the book
Oh no,
just to get
definitely
those
not.
points or to give your characters a flaw. They can be simple things of like fears or just that your family is life. You can pick flaws that your character has. It doesn't have to be just because you want more. Because some books will allow you to pick a flaw in order to get more abilities or more
Points to
um,
then put into
points.
stats and whatnot.
And
But
I don't think that you have to do that to create a good character. I mean,
no.
yeah,
Well,
you
like
want
some,
to create the personality.
well, like something fun would be your a flaw would be a bad habit. Maybe they're always chewing gum, and that can be really annoying to other people. Or when they talk to other people and they're trying to convince them to do something, but they're chewing that gum, and you give them a negative on that roll, and that can be fun too.
Pacifist, the hate gang and fights. It all can change depending on what you want to play and what kind of personality you want.
What you like to play as character, maybe you don't know, so play a bunch of different character classes, races if they have that in the game. Maybe even pick characteristics that you have yourself, so you're kind of maybe in the game. If you know who you are, you can change it a little bit and like, I'm going to be the hero. Or maybe something that you want to become personally, like I want to be a better person, but this character can do it. I mean, that's getting a little more deep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that does lead to like I think it's good to know where your character wants to go.
that's important.
So
They have to have a goal themselves.
when you create your character, you should know a goal. You should know what, especially starting off with the goal, what your character wants to do right now
Mm-hmm.
and where they want to go.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm a squire. I'm helping this knight, but I want to become knighted, and then eventually I want to become the king's number one guard.
Mm-hmm. And then you look at that example, and then, all right, but why do they want to be a knight and the number one guard? Because maybe their father was, and it's a family lineage, and maybe this character isn't strong at all physically, but is going to try to do it anyway because he feels that he has to do it.
And then this is where it's a good time to talk to your GM or talk to the person running the game, to create the background for your character, build its history, so you know who you're playing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge 10-page document.
No, no,
It,
no, no.
it could be just a paragraph saying, I grew up here. My
Yep.
father was the king's guard.
I
I
want.
lost my farm. I'm trying to raise money to get my land back
Yep.
in order to then, not be indentured servants anymore or something like that.
Yeah, just to have a better life for my family, or myself or whatever. Another trope that you can come into when making a character is the tragic backstory. My village was destroyed by dragons. Now I hate dragons. That's a generic intro or background. It works. Just try to add a bit more because that's not necessarily a character. Sure, might have motivation into they hate dragons because they killed his family and village, but what type of a person is that? So just think of
You,
characters you've seen in movies, or yeah, what's that?
I was gonna say, like, in especially in D&D or something like that. I mean, there could be characters that love dragons, but you could probably assume most people hate dragons.
Yeah, that dragons was just an example.
I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, you want to create more of a backstory that isn't so broad, I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Well, I
Um,
say you're trying to make a person. Your character is you're trying to make them a person. So besides, yeah, what weapons they have, what they're good at, just think about that. I guess a good tool or exercise you can do is have someone ask you, so you have this character, tell me about your character without describing what they look like, describe and what their skills are, what their job is. Tell me what this character is about. And if they can't do that, you probably don't have a strong enough character when you actually role play it.
that's a good little activity.
I saw this in a YouTube video from Red Letter Media.
I guess I use a cheating method sometimes to start creating a character, and that is to think of either a movie or whatever,
Definitely.
a character that I want to be like, or even another person that I know, I might be like, I met this person and they were like this, and I'm going to try to associate this person I met into the character that I want to play because I kind of found their personality interesting and I want to try to play it.
Heck yeah. Going back to the old steal something, that is awesome. Cool.
I think once you create your background for your character and you got your personality, that's where the GM comes in to say yes or no. And we talked a little bit last episode about having the possibility of using their background as part of a way to bring the villain into the game and make it more personable for the character playing.
Yeah. Agreed. I think we got it, man. Anything else you wanted to add, Dan?
Play someone you want to play. That's something I want to make sure.
Yeah, or if you've already been doing that, you've already got bored with playing the same type of characters that you've been wanting to play, try to mix it up. And when you have a strong character idea of who you are or your character is, when you come into a situation, you can react easier and faster because you know what that character would do in that certain situation. Is my character a coward? All right, well, a combat situation comes up, he's going to duck behind the bar and wait for everyone else to do it. Things like that. And then you can add a goal to that character. He sees that maybe there's a hero in the group or NPC and wants to become stronger and might try to do something. A goal of the character is to do that.
And I think that's a good thing to point out is like the flaw that you gave a person, such as being a coward to hide behind a bar or something while the fight's going on. Those flaws are also what brings the characters or makes the characters interact with each other.
Yes.
So if someone always cowards when there's a fight, the other players are going to be like, why do you just cower and hide? We need you to help us fight, or we need you to do something.
Yeah, you can tell
But
them.
they may also be good at something else that the other characters aren't, and that's why they keep them around.
Yeah, maybe that character is like a lawyer or something. I've never been in a fight. This is the first time I've seen people pull out guns and shoot each other. Of course I'm going to go run behind and hide. I've never done this. As a real person, you would be in shock, stunned at what's happening and scared. So yeah.
Because if the players have a better character to play, it makes the GM's job easier to run a game because the characters will interact better and have a better time playing.
That is a good sentence. That's an awesome sentence. And we're going to end on that good sentence.
I get good sentences once in a while.
No, that was to the point and exactly what this episode was about. If you want to send us a question or get a hold of us or threaten Lee in any possible way, you can go on Facebook at Roll of the Dice or email rollofthedice@gmail.com. If you're going to threaten me, just maybe a sentence or two because it goes on and on. Too long, didn't read.
How many threats can I send you? Because I'm going to send a lot now.
Oh, you're going to spam me? Okay, let's once a week.
Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye, all y'all.